In the shop today we have a 2015 Ford Fusion. We'll be installing the Stay-in-Play Duo system on this vehicle. The steps for this installation will be universal between all towed vehicle make and models. Be sure to go over that packing slip at this time to make sure you have all your parts. Also be sure to read the installation instructions before you begin the installation. The box comes with everything you'll need to install. This is the Stay-in-Play Duo operating unit. This is the installation kit, all the hardware you need to install the operating unit, the LED notification kit that comes with the system, the G-force controller, the air actuator, some air line, and some wire loom to hide the wires. Before we get started, it's always a good idea to remove the negative battery post. For our first step, we'll be locating a suitable spot for the Stay-in-Play Duo operating unit. It will go under the hood of the towed vehicle. Make sure it's about 3 inches away from any excessive heat source. For this 2015 Ford Fusion, we did find a nice spot right in front of the onboard computer on the passenger side. Just be sure to secure the unit into place firmly. At this time, we're going to put in the G-force controller. Usually it's installed on the driver's side kick panel area, but in our case, there's not sufficient room, so we're going to locate it on the passenger console. When securing the controller in place, be mindful of any wiring behind the panel. We're going to go ahead and move on to wiring the notification LED light. Connecting the factory wire to the extended wire in the kit, it's a good idea to go ahead and reinforce that connection with some electrical tape. The notification light will be located anywhere in the line of sight of the rear camera of the motorhome. On this installation, we'll be putting it on the back side of the rearview mirror. The wire for the LED notification light will be routed under the dash area of the driver's side and will connect to the cold side of the brake light switch. At any time, if you have trouble locating this wire, you're more than welcome to call the help line. The black wire, or the ground for the light, will be installed at a later time. If your motorhome is not equipped with a backup camera, or you would like a more hands-on view, you can route the LED or any other light to the dash of the motorhome. Or you can install additional wireless SMI kit, and that will get the signal transmitted from the car to the coach cockpit wirelessly. We'll move on to the installation of the air actuator. We'll start by setting the actuator up against the brake arm above the pedal and checking where the anchor will be installed on the firewall. Finding a straight line shot or an angle that's going to work and the cable will still be able to pull straight. Before drilling through the firewall, be sure to check the back side of the firewall to make sure there's not any obstructions or anything that you'll hit. Setting the cable tension is very important. You will want to first set the cable tension at the anchor. Then you can fine-tune the setting by moving the actuator front to back before tightening it down on the brake arm. Once everything's tightened up, we're going to move the brake pedal through its range of motion and make sure that the cylinder moves freely along the actuator. Our last piece of hardware to install is the breakaway switch. We'll install this on the front bumper. Ideally, we'll install it to where it can turn out of the way and be hidden when not used, and then swivel back out when in use. With all the hardware installed, we'll want to connect everything together with the wires and the air line and the vacuum line. In our case, we're going to begin with the breakaway switch. The orange with black wire will be installed to the battery of the Toad. Now we'll take the brown wire and connect it to the three-way crimp terminal, which goes to the positive terminal of the battery. And the blue wire will connect to the blue wire of the unit. Let's head back inside the car and route the wires from the G-force controller and the air line from the actuator through the firewall. In many cases, the factory wire harness going through the firewall will have extra space in it where you can go through that grommet. In our case, there was not sufficient space, so we made a small hole through the firewall. We will cover this hole with silicone to seal it. We'll connect the red wire from the GeForce controller to the red wire of the operating unit. We'll connect the black wire from the GeForce controller to the black wire on the operating unit. Your vehicle should already have the tow wiring installed. We will connect our yellow and green wires into the tow wiring yellow and green. The white wire to the tow wire harness. If your vehicle does not have the standard 4-wire colors, green, yellow, white, brown, refer to the installation manual and how to find the proper wire. And also take the white wire and connect it to a frame ground. To finish off the wiring, we will put our 20-amp fuse in the fuse holder. Using the supply connectors in the kit, connect the vacuum hose from the operating unit to the factory vacuum hose connected to the booster. Then install the check valve, the black side facing the engine, and the clear or greenish side of the check valve will face the T. And lastly, to finish up our installation, we'll route the air line from the actuator to the SMI unit. To test our installation, we'll first turn on the switch located on the GeForce controller, and then we will pull the pin out of the breakaway switch that's located on the front bumper. You should see the notification LED turn on and the brakes being applied. If your motorhome is not available, you can still test the system by connecting a power source to the yellow or the green wire from the towed battery. With the system activated and that the sensitivity setting is all the way as low as possible, you will simply raise the sensitivity adjustment up until it shuts off. Then raise the adjustment up another 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch.